Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, you must become the victor. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Final Fantasy VII is finally coming to the PC, or rather, I think it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And there are some very, very talented people within the modding community, and apparently, the official studio has asked, please don't make any inappropriate mods. Which, as we all know, is sort of like pissing up a rope. It's just an impossibility. It's never going to happen. Yeah, of course, the inappropriate mods are coming. And mods that are, maybe technically inappropriate, but are, more or less harmless. Like, people are going to return Tifa's breast size to their normal state. And what was very interesting is that apparently there was a rumor going around that, well, I don't know if it's a rumor that it's, that they have a diversity, equity, and inclusion team that were adamant about reducing the size of Tifa's breast for Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And this is just gamers basically taking the power back and saying F you to the censors, and you woke degenerate freaks, you are not going to get your way. So let's watch this video from Asmongold, because this really is the best marketing promotion ever. I've not seen anything that was more just immediately appealing. And we're talking about aesthetics and stuff like that, and aesthetics are important. I've maintained this over and over. But there's just something about a character like Tifa that makes people like her. And it's been that way ever since I was a kid. When Final Fantasy VII came out, Tifa was just something special. And it clearly just isn't the looks. It's part of it. But if it were just the looks, it wouldn't have lasted for over 20 years.
Here we go. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth director asks players to avoid offensive or inappropriate mods. So this is, I guess, a mod that they have for Final Fantasy. I think this is a pretty good mod. I like it. Yeah. You can't stop them. Well, no. The reason why they say that, it's because in Japan, the way that modding is handled and like the intellectual property behind it is really confusing. So a lot of studios have to say don't do offensive or inappropriate mods, because if they don't, it could make them liable. That's what I think is going on, because Square Enix says the same thing about Final Fantasy 16 as well. Listen, do you really think they care? No, they probably have the mods on their own computers in some cases.
Step on me, please.
They just have to say this because it's the thing that they're supposed to say. So it's actually a don't do it, wink, wink. It's more like a, oh, it's because in Japan, the way that modding the thing, now do whatever the f.
I guess that's something.
Well, so, yeah, I think that it they make a compelling point here. That this is a very, very good piece of marketing and a piece of promotion. And I think that at the end of the day, when gamers are given the freedom to choose, they are going to make the aesthetically pleasing character. They are not going to make the character more reserved, more censored, less enticing. And I don't think they have any obligation or duty to do so. And the reason we're talking about this is because it just goes to more of the argument about Witcher 4 and Interstellar. When you intentionally make a character as ugly as the ones that we see that are being introduced, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I definitely recommend doing so. It's completely free, and you will get notified of some of the most glorious shitposts on the internet. Take a look at my beloved YouTube community tab. You get things like this. Wow. Now, I don't know if this is actually a promotion for my YouTube community tab, or this is going to make you never want to subscribe to me ever. But we have fun here on this channel, and And it just goes to my point. The grotesquification of Western characters exists only so far as these people have control over the IP. Once gamers are put back in charge, basically, it goes back to being fun. And it goes back to being the Wild West, and you don't really have any of these puritanical standards that are so destructive when it comes to gaming. And it's puritanical standards in a certain way. So it's only for making women less appealing, less attractive. It doesn't apply to men. It never applies to men. Men can be as, as gorgeous or beautiful. They could be runway models. They could be, walking around without their shirt. Anything that you want for a guy. But for girls, the girls have to be more realistic. And by realistic, I mean fatter and uglier. The truth is that I laugh every time I see this picture. The truth is that aesthetics do matter. I think it is crucially, critically important. And again, I mentioned this before, but keep in mind that we almost, very almost, got a Sonic the Hedgehog that looks like this. Now keep in mind, the reason that we don't have this Sonic the Hedgehog on the left is because people didn't just tune out. They didn't just say, you know what, I'm done. I don't like this, so I'm going to go play a different thing. I'm going to go make a different thing. No, they vocalized their feedback, and ultimately they came out with this Sonic on the right, which was the fix, and I think that Sonic looks pretty good. Okay? Not perfect, but pretty good. Okay? And I think that is the ultimate lesson here. Listening to the consumer and doing what you know they want is ultimately going to net you more goodwill in the long run. Standing by your ridiculous woke standards is going to lead to people completely and totally tuning you out. And so that's why I think this is so completely interesting. That the first thing that people are talking about as it relates to the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer or the game coming out on PC,
Humans aren't born!
The thing that people are talking about is it's literally how bussy can we make this character? Like, how can we expand on something that we already, how can we expand on something we already like? How can we do something to push the boundaries? And I think it's perfectly fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with this whatsoever. I think they do a good job. And all the freaks that are offended by this, just know that I have nothing but contempt for you. You're mentally ill. You're gross. You're weird. You're disgusting. You are the gooners that you accuse other people of being. There's nothing redeemable or interesting about you, and you just simply hate the fact that people like attractive things. You like that people like attractive things, which basically, by implication, means that they don't like you. So, I would say that there is nothing wrong with this. And that, gamers go wild. Do whatever you want. If an art director or somebody else tells you not to meddle with the game and you're making aesthetic changes like that'll make you happy, go ahead. Now, I will also add at the end of this, I'm not for pure degeneracy. In fact, I'm not for degeneracy at all. I don't think degeneracy is good. I think it leads to this sort of left-wing communist, self-indulgent freak mindset. So I wouldn't be in favor of, somebody adding a mod for like an inappropriate adult scene into the game, for example. It's just not my thing. But if you want to create outfits, if you want to, add in some aesthetic changes, I think it's perfectly fine. And I think the people that try to shame gamers for that are just genuinely pathetic. I think there's something deeply wrong in their life that they have to try to vent it out on gamers in the way that they do. And, to be perfectly fair, Asmongold makes a good point. There's nothing wrong with the mod. And just, I think that an attitude of more freedom over less as it relates to gamers, because I trust the judgment of gamers more than I trust the judgment of corporations or censors or people working in a DEI, echo chamber. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video. I just wanted to touch on this topic. As always, I appreciate the people reaching out and the people supporting the channel and the people giving financially. I know I bring it up, but it's only because I really genuinely want you to understand that I am aware of what the value of $1 is. I am perfectly aware of what the value of $1 is. So when I see somebody giving $5 or 5 British pounds or 10 British pounds or something, I look at that and I'm floored. And in fact, we had one extremely generous guy give like 40 or 50 British pounds. And I was just floored at that. It blew my mind, because that's like almost the cost of it. You could buy Dragon Age the Field card for that money on Amazon. Anyway, I just appreciate all of it. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the money. I know what it's worth. I say this very often, and you don't hear this from many content creators. But yeah, your money is, it's a part of you. It's something that you earned, that you worked hard to get. And the fact that you would choose to give of yourself to this channel to help me grow, to help me build this, it's tremendous. I can't even really put into words what it means. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you. I appreciate you. Continue to do more videos, have more fun, talk about these topics. But without further ado, I'll bid you a good day, and I'll see you next time.